This is the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam, a new podcast for engaged couples concerned about wedding planning and family expectations but want a stress-free, fun, and unforgettable wedding.
Hi, I'm Sal Fusco of After Hours Events of New England. In my 40 years, I performed at over 3,500 weddings. Working consistently keeps me in tune with the wedding industry.
Hi, I'm Sam from Atmosphere Productions Disc Jockey Service. I've been DJing since the mid-70s in radio, nightclubs, and thousands of weddings, helping and interacting with hundreds of engaged couples.
Welcome to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
How do I plan an outdoor wedding? Are outdoor weddings cheaper? What is the best time of day to have an outdoor wedding? What is the best month to have an outdoor wedding? How do I decorate an outdoor wedding venue? What if it rains or the weather is bad?
After listening to this edition of Stress-Free Wedding Planning, you're going to know and understand the answer to those questions.
With over 80 years of combined wedding experience and insider information, this is Stress-Free Wedding Planning with your hosts, Sal and Sam. A new podcast for engaged couples who are stressed about wedding planning and family expectations, but want to have a fun wedding. Listen now for revealing wedding insider secrets, tips, and strategy or lesson that you'll be able to implement for a stress-free wedding. Information that you just can't miss and may just change your life. Take the journey with us from worry and concern to a stress-free and unforgettable wedding day. The Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam.
Learn more about our journey to help you with stress-free wedding planning in the trailer or pilot of this podcast.
In today's edition, how to plan an outdoor wedding, everything you need to know from the best months to have your wedding and what to have in your backup plan. To help you out, if you have a question or concern, go now to Facebook and join us on our stress-free wedding planning community and ask away.
You know, Sal, there's no denying there is something magical and special about an outdoor wedding. The fresh air, the perfect backdrop of earth and sky, and the finale of twinkling stars. And of course, you can't beat a sparkler send-off. There's no wonder then that outdoor weddings are so popular, and especially since COVID, they have become chic and classy, although never tacky type of wedding. It's here to stay. Outdoor weddings are affordable, and especially if you're having it in your own backyard or you have a farm or something like that that you can do, the open air just creates an unforgettable experience for you and your guests. Now, you may be wondering, how do you plan an outdoor wedding? Or are outdoor weddings cheaper? What is the best time of year to do it? What is the best month? How do I decorate an outdoor wedding venue? What if it rains?
What is the best month to have an outdoor wedding? That's a very good question, Sam. And I'm going to tell you the 2 months you should stay away from first.
We're going to start there first.
We're going to start there first, okay? Some mistakes. July and August. People, it's way too hot. Don't do that to your
especially here in Connecticut, right?
Yes.
So you can imagine in Texas.
Oh my goodness. So, July is bad enough. August is even worse. It gets so much hotter. The humidity is off the charts.
It's unbearable.
Yes. So this is why these are the best months to have it in. May and June, not too hot.
Yep.
It works out really nicely. September, you start hitting into that fall area.
Yep.
October, you have the foliage, which is nice for pictures. It's just a beautiful setting.
Especially in northern New England.
Yes. And as a norm, it's a nice
calm
weather pattern.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
Not too hot, not too cold. But of course, this is New England. You could end up with a few really hot days within that time period. But your chances are better of having a perfect day.
That's so true. Now, no matter where you're listening to this podcast, whichever area you are in or whichever country you're in, find out what are the best months. You can just Google your location and try and find out from the weather before you pick a date. So don't just randomly pick a date like I did when we got married. And because we got engaged in July, we figured we'd just add 2 years onto that and get married on the same date. We didn't have any ideas on what to do or how to pick a date. So my suggestion is think logistically of the month that you want to do it and then find out whether that is feasible. There's also those winter months.
those winter months, which it is still possible, there's some venues that could help you out with a tent wedding. Definitely want to make sure you have the heaters because that's going to be very important.
Yes.
And the outside flaps, you want to kind of enclose all this. As Sam was saying, you really want to do the research on when, let's say you're planning a wedding in April. Well, if you do some research, you're going to find out it rains a lot in April.
Showers.
So it may not be the best month to do something like that. But yeah, there's some wonderful winter weddings that I know I have done. When you plan it right, it is just so nice.
Gorgeous. Remember, fire pits are another thing in the winter. Warm accessories for your guests like scarves, wraps, mittens. And of course, you tell your guests if you're doing it in the winter, make sure they bring their coats. Don't just come with a little T-shirt and shorts to the wedding. Make sure you're dressed.
Let them know what's happening. You got to let them know, what your plans are. And I've had what I call a partial outdoor wedding, and what I mean by that is, I've had a number of times where people have still had their ceremony outside
in the winter.
And then had everything else inside.
Yeah.
So they just love the view of where they are, and the facility was able to help them out. And they had the blankets and everything, and it was a cool thing.
And they were lucky enough that it didn't snow or piss down with rain.
Yes.
Now, if you want more on our winter wedding ideas, we did do an edition a little while back, and you can go to edition number 21, and you can find out what our thoughts are on winter wedding ideas.
So, Sam, what is the best time of day to have an outdoor wedding?
Typically, outdoor weddings that I go to, they start in the early evening, 4 or 5 o'clock. And that's the best time frame to start for an evening. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing it in the morning, 11 o'clock, midday. Nothing wrong at all. I know a lot of photographers like to do that golden hour shot. So that's why 4 or 5 start usually is the best. And the golden hour picture is that beautiful picture you see of the sun just dipping down behind the trees and that golden glow of the trees lighting up in the semi-dark. It's just a beautiful picture.
I think Sam wants to redo his wedding. Sue,
are
you listening to this?
Don't give her any ideas, please.
So depending on the month you choose, timing is everything. So if you're going into a colder month, you may want to start a little earlier for a couple reasons. One, it is going to be a little warmer earlier. In other words, don't wait until the evening. And don't do it early in the morning either. Do it somewhere around 2 o'clock where it's going to be perfect weather time, temperature-wise. Also, you have to consider when you start hitting October. It's getting darker quicker.
Earlier. Yep.
So you need to figure out, hey, when can we get that sunset shot that you want so badly? And you want it all to work out. So there's just a lot of things you have to consider.
And there's an app for that. If you want to know when the sun is setting at your specific location, I know Apple does have an app, and I'm sure Android or Google does the same thing. So get an app, and it'll help you out with that. Remember, the evening is the optimal time for photos. And of course, if you're dancing under the moonlight, that is so romantic. And having dinner as part of the reception obviously is traditional as well. So whether you do it in the morning or in the evening, if you want to keep it traditional, you certainly can. Now, when we come back, we're going to discuss outdoor weddings. Are they cheaper? How to decorate an outdoor wedding venue? And what if it rains and your plan B? So come right back.
You're listening to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is brought to you by Emerge Cosmetics. Are you ready to emerge? A new line of luxurious lipsticks and lip glosses created with the intention of empowerment and coming into who you truly are. Strong, beautiful, and confident. Use coupon code EBI10 at shopemergecosmetics.com for an instant 10% discount. That's coupon code EBI10 for 10% discount at shopemergecosmetics.com. Emerge as the true you.
On today's Wedding Tip Wednesday, create an email address just for your wedding. Don't use personal email. This way, everything is in one place, but remember to check it off and promptly reply to your vendors. Okay, so this is an email that both you and your fiance should have access to, religiously checking every day, because you don't know when someone's going to be emailing you. Also, something very important, Sam, is they need to check that junk folder. Sometimes good emails go into that junk folder.
A lot of my emails go that way when I call back clients and say, hey, I sent you a email. Oh, we never got it. They look in their junk or their trash and it's in there. My daughter's getting married shortly, and that's what she did. It is a crucial idea. But as Sal said, you have to check it regularly because us vendors are going to want to try and contact you. Sal, especially as you get close to the wedding, right?
Oh, yes. So here's another tip. So when you first start your adventure into planning your wedding, get an email address. Use that for everyone you want to find out information from. Once you have your proper vendors, get rid of that address, start another new one. The reason for this is by getting rid of that other one, all that junk, those people who are going to keep constantly harassing you with stuff and you're not interested in them anymore. Hey, now you have this new email that you work with just the vendors that you do want, and that should be the only people you should be hearing from.
That's a smart one. That's a 2-for-1 Wedding Tip Wednesday.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is available on the Stress Free Wedding Planning Facebook group page every Wednesday. Join the group for free.
Do you want access to a stress-free wedding planning process? Then go to our website, allthews.atmosphere-productions.com, and get my free report. 8 questions you must ask a wedding professional before booking them. Get it today. That's allthews.atmosphere-productions.com. Look for the free report and learn to shop like a pro from a pro, and go from concern and worry to stress-free wedding planning.
I'm Andy Kane from Buy Like a Guy, the podcast with the tools guys need to buy an engagement ring or other diamond jewelry with confidence. And you're listening to Sal and Sam on the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast. You can listen online and download from iTunes, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts.
Don't know what to do for your first dance? Is your future spouse having trouble picking a song to dance with their parent? Worry no more. I have the answer. Go to afterhoursevents.com/contact guest. That is CONTACTGUEST. And you'll be able to listen to hours of music to help you select the right songs for your upcoming wedding. Again, go to afterhoursevents.com/contact guest.
Welcome back to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam.
I'm Sam from Atmosphere Productions Disc Jockey Service. Weddings with expert knowledge and the difference in quality.
Hi, I'm Sal from After Hours Events of New England, the leader in making your wedding stress-free.
We're talking about how to plan an outdoor wedding, everything you need to know, or at least the important stuff anyway. We just covered the best time of the day to do an outdoor wedding, the best month of the year to do it, and now the question is, are outdoor weddings cheaper?
Well, that depends. An outdoor wedding could actually be much more expensive because sometimes you don't think about, oh, I want this, I want that, and you don't realize it's all adding up. You need to be very careful because facilities are more, they give you everything. You know, the dishes are there, the silverware is there, the linens and all that. But it can be, if you are careful about what you do, it could definitely be cheaper, but it could be just as much, if not more, if you're not careful.
So let's take it that we're doing an outdoor wedding on private property. Typically, it will be cheaper because you don't have the venue expense, but it's those additional expenses now on the flip side, like you got to hire toilets, you've got to silverware tables, tents, etc., like that. Those are the additional costs that come in. So the answer is yes, but with a big but. There are additional expenses that you have to add. Now, if you have it on a commercial property, it may be even more expensive there.
You got to rent the property now.
Exactly. So you might find this wonderful barn that overlooks the Grand Canyon or has a beautiful vista or landscape, but you also have to add up the costs of renting that venue and then renting the stuff that goes in it, because the venue may not have all of those different items that you need, tables, chairs, tents, etc., that I mentioned before.
Yeah, and you know, as Sam and I have mentioned so many times, what is very important is planning and planning early.
Yep.
So don't plan an outdoor wedding and expect to do it in 4 to 6 months.
Yeah,
That's just not going to work out.
That's looking for stress, right?
Yeah, big time. That's a lot of stress, and that usually turns out to be more expensive because of how close you've
done it. Yes.
So you want to give yourself some advance, a time before it's actually going to happen. Let it be a year,
16
year and a
months.
half.
Yep.
Ahead of time. So you could definitely do more research, and you have more accessibility at that point.
True.
Because if you do it to the last minute now.
Yep.
you may not be able to find that tent so easily. And when that happens, that means prices are usually higher at that point.
Yep.
So the more time you give yourselves, the better it is going to be in your pocket.
Also, if you're doing an outdoor venue, make sure, for instance, you got engaged in January, you want to get married in the summer, for instance, then wait till the summer and then visit that venue or the location to see how the sun is facing, how the logistics of it is at that time of year. Because if you just randomly just decide to pick a date and you have no idea what the sun is doing and those other logistics, you could face a problem. So site inspection is something that I always like to recommend to my clients before you pick that final date. Or if you have picked that final date already, do a site inspection on or around the month that you're planning to get married to see what it looks like.
And finding a photographer that may have actually shot in that area before, that location, they know more than anyone else.
Agreed.
Typically. So these are notes that they keep, and like, hey, when I'm back here again this time of year, this is what happened, and it was unexpected.
Yeah.
So now they're ready for it, and you're ready for it.
Yep. Now, the next question is, how do I decorate an outdoor wedding venue? Now, I'm not the greatest on decorating, but I can tell you to stick to your desired aesthetics, but you need to be mindful of the decorations, whether they'll handle the outdoor weather. So in the winter, you might want to put twinkle lights up around the trees. You've got to prepare for that. Make sure there's outdoor electricity. So little
that might
things
be a little
like
important. You can't plug into a tree. Yeah, it doesn't work very well. Definitely.
So little things like that, and you can spice up the area if it is somebody's backyard. Of course, get a tent. That is usually the obvious solution. If not, then there's loads of ways that you can decorate the outside garden area before the wedding day.
I can't stress enough, when you're doing something outside, you should have a tent.
Oh,
you have to have a tent.
Yeah.
I've had couples who've considered, we're thinking about not going with the tent. Why go through the expense? Yeah. Well, the problem is, if you don't have that out there, you have no plan B.
Yeah.
And
when it rains,
what happens when it rains?
Yeah.
And no one's going to be able to stand out there. Yeah. Your DJ can't play music. Your photographer can't have their equipment out there. So this is something you really can't skimp on. Get a tent and make sure it's big enough to cover everyone. And a tent
solves that problem.
It can solve that problem, but also create such a great element to the decoration and such of using special lights to put special designs inside the tent. Even outside the tent, you could have what's called a gobo, and it could have your names and your wedding date coming on the outside. You get special designs on the inside. Again, these are things that bring up the cost, but these are things you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever decorations you decide to put on your outdoor wedding venue, make sure they're carefully secured. Don't let a gust of wind ruin your entire hard work and your entire day. Something as simple as that, you want to make sure you take care of that ahead of time.
So, what if it rains and the weather is bad? Oh no.
That gust of wind turned into a thunderstorm.
This is another important thing when you have a tent, to have those side flaps.
Ching.
That's going to help things out so much more.
Clip them down, yeah.
Okay. A little hint for your DJ, or even a photo booth if you have it in the tent. Always have flaps down anyway.
Yep.
Because you need to protect those pieces of equipment.
Very delicate. Select an outdoor venue that can also easily accommodate an indoor ceremony and reception, just in case the weather gets bad. So what we're saying is, if everything turns to SHIT and you need to go inside, is it a small 1,600 square foot house, or is it a big house where you can accommodate the DJ, the food, and everything else? Make sure that plan B is on site. You don't have to pack everything up and go somewhere else.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to be doing that.
You don't want to be doing that.
Talk about adding stress to your life. So, yeah, as we talked about many times, Sam, there needs to be a plan B.
Plan B.
Plan C, why not? Just in case.
And a plan D.
But you get the point. You feel free to overplan.
Yes.
When you're doing an outdoor event, you do need to kind of overplan and really talk to your professionals. They could give you so many ideas on how to help you through an outdoor event.
Yeah.
Just in case of things like this.
Talking to your venue, they can make the big picture for you so that you can explain what you are looking for. Maybe you have a theme, for instance, and the venue may or may not be able to accommodate that for you. Maybe if you have bad weather, they won't be able to fulfill what you want. These are things that you have to discuss on your walkthrough with your venue. Make sure that their indoor space as a backup is available for that particular day, and it's what you want. You don't want an indoor space that's inaccessible to you, because you may think that the vista that you were looking for on the outdoor was beautiful, but now you have to go and look on the indoor space, and that's totally inaccessible for you. That's why going and doing a site inspection first is so important.
Remember one thing. If it rains on your day, don't stress out. It means good luck. Not a big deal. Roll with it. Have fun. Have a great time.
Oh, absolutely. So there you go. There's some great tips on how to plan an outdoor wedding. Everything you need to know. Hope we've covered all of those questions for you.
You're listening to the Stress Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
So there you have it. We just shared with you exactly what you need to know about how to plan an outdoor wedding. You also learned what are the best months to have your wedding and what to have in your backup plan.
Now, as you spend the next week planning your wedding, if you want me, Sam, or our community of stress-free engaged couples and wedding experts to answer any wedding-related questions,
then join us over in the Stress Free Wedding Planning Facebook group. Once you're in, go ahead and share your concerns and worries, and we'll let you know if you're on the right track or if there are some things you should be working on. The link to join us is in the show notes of this edition, or go to Facebook and search for the Stress Free Wedding Planning Community. Thank you for listening to this edition. If you enjoyed what you just heard, leave a review and share with a friend or someone who could benefit from this information. Until next time then, it's TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
Remember, a new edition is released every Wednesday. Subscribe and get it first. We'll catch you then. Ciao.
The Stress Free Wedding Planning Podcast is produced and copyrighted by Atmosphere Productions in association with After Hours Events of New England.